Have you ever wondered why some people seem to glide through life's toughest challenges with grace, while others crumble under pressure? The answer lies in mental strength, a hidden superpower that can transform your life, especially as you enter your golden years. Mental strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. And here's the good news. It's never too late to start. Whether you're navigating retirement, health changes, or simply seeking more peace, the timeless wisdom of Buddhism offers profound insights to help you thrive. Today, we'll explore 6 Buddhist secrets to becoming mentally strong. These habits will help you let go of negativity, embrace resilience, and find joy in the present moment. And trust me, the final lesson might just be the key to unlocking a life you never thought possible. Ready to transform your mind? Let's begin. Habit number 1. Let go of a negative mindset. Imagine walking through life wearing a pair of glasses that tint everything in shades of gray. The vibrant reds of a blooming rose, the golden glow of a sunrise, or the deep blues of a clear sky, all muted, barely visible. This is what carrying a negative mindset feels like. It distorts your perception, turning moments of joy into shadows of doubt and opportunities for growth into insurmountable obstacles. But here's the thing, those glasses aren't permanent. You can take them off. Buddhism teaches us that the mind is like a mirror. It reflects whatever we allow it to hold. A negative thought, if left unchecked, can ripple through our consciousness like a stone cast into still water. At first, it's just a small disturbance, but over time, those ripples can grow, distorting everything in their path. The good news? A thought is not permanent. Just as clouds drift across the sky without altering its essence, our minds can let go of negativity without losing their inherent clarity. The key is to recognize that negativity is not who you are, it's just something passing through. One of the most powerful tools to help you let go of negativity is loving kindness meditation, or metta. This ancient Buddhist practice is like a gentle rain that washes away the dust of resentment, self-criticism, and fear. Here's how it works. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and silently repeat these phrases. May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be free from suffering. Start with yourself. It might feel strange at first, especially if you're used to being hard on yourself, but this is where the healing begins. Then extend these wishes to others, a friend, a stranger, even someone who challenges you. Slowly, you'll begin to soften the grip of resentment and self-criticism. As the Buddha said, what we think, we become. When you fill your mind with thoughts of kindness and compassion, you start to see the world and yourself in a new light. Let's face it, the modern world can feel like a storm of bad news, criticism, and personal setbacks. It's easy to fall into a cycle of pessimism when you're surrounded by negativity. But here's the question. Does focusing on negativity ever truly solve the problem? Or does it simply anchor you to the past, keeping you from moving forward? Buddhism teaches us the principle of impermanence, the idea that everything, including our challenges, is fleeting. Think of it this way. A dark cloud may block the sun, but it can't hold it back forever. The sun always reappears. To put this into practice, start by observing your thoughts without judgment. When negativity arises, don't fight it. Acknowledge it, and then gently redirect your focus. Ask yourself, what is one small thing I can feel grateful for in this moment? It could be as simple as the warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of birds singing, or the laughter of a loved one. Gratitude is like a flashlight in the dark. It helps you see the good that's always there, even when it's hard to find. Let me share a story. There was once a woman named Margaret, who after retiring, found herself feeling stuck in a cycle of negativity. She'd wake up each morning dreading the day ahead, focusing on what she couldn't do anymore, rather than what she could. One day, a friend introduced her to loving kindness meditation. At first, Margaret was skeptical. How can repeating a few phrases change anything, she wondered, but she decided to give it a try. Every morning, she sat quietly and repeated the phrases, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be free from suffering." Slowly, something shifted. She began to notice the small joys she'd been overlooking. The way the sunlight filtered through her curtains, the taste of her morning coffee, the kindness of a neighbor. Over time, Margaret's mindset began to change. She started to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth. She even began to extend her practice to others, sending thoughts of kindness to people she found difficult. Margaret's story is a reminder that letting go of negativity isn't about denying reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about clearing the lens through which you see the world. A clean mirror reflects light. A calm mind reflects resilience. When you let go of negativity, something incredible happens. You free yourself to embrace strength, clarity, and compassion. You begin to see life as it truly is, full of challenges, yes, but also brimming with opportunities for growth. As the Buddha taught, even the darkest clouds cannot hold back the sun forever. By releasing the burden of negativity, you allow the light of your true self to shine through. So take a moment today to pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? Then gently let it go. You might be surprised at how much lighter you feel. Letting go of a negative mindset isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice, but with each small step, you'll find yourself becoming more resilient, more present, and more at peace. Remember, the journey to mental strength begins within. And as you walk this path, you'll discover that the greatest gift you can give yourself is the freedom to see life and yourself in full color. As the Zen proverb says, let go or be dragged. Choose to let go and watch as your world transforms, one mindful breath at a time. Habit number 2. Stop complaining about things beyond your control. Imagine holding a burning coal in your hand, thinking that by gripping it tighter, you'll somehow hurt someone else. But here's the truth. The tighter you hold on, the more it burns you. The pain isn't inflicted on anyone else. It's yours to bear. This is what complaining about things beyond your control feels like. It's a self-inflicted wound, a cycle of pain that traps you in frustration and drains your energy. The Buddha once shared a profound metaphor to explain this. Life is like being struck by 2 arrows. The first arrow is the situation itself, the traffic jam, the delayed flight, the unexpected setback. That first arrow, it's often out of your control. But the second arrow, that's your reaction, the complaining, the frustration, the resistance. And here's the kicker. That second arrow is entirely in your hands. Complaining is like firing that second arrow at yourself over and over again. It doesn't change the situation, it only deepens your suffering. But what if you could stop firing that second arrow? What if, instead of resisting what you can't control, you could learn to accept it? Acceptance isn't about giving up or resigning yourself to a life of passivity. It's about understanding the natural flow of life. Think of it like this. You're standing in the rain. You can curse the storm, or you can dance in it. Complaining is like shaking your fist at the sky, demanding it stop raining. But acceptance? That's when you pull out an umbrella, or better yet, splash in the puddles. Picture this. You're stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting. Your first instinct might be to honk, grumble, and fume. But let's pause for a moment. Is your frustration going to magically clear the road? Probably not. So instead, you take a deep breath. You recognize that the traffic is out of your control. And then you use the moment to reflect, to listen to an uplifting podcast, or simply to enjoy the quiet. The situation hasn't changed. The traffic is still there. But your mindset has shifted, and that changes everything. As the Buddha taught, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Let's be honest. The modern world is a breeding ground for complaints. We live in a culture that thrives on pointing fingers at our boss, the economy, the weather, even the barista who got our coffee order wrong. But here's the thing. Blaming external factors doesn't solve the problem. It only deepens your frustration and keeps you stuck in a cycle of negativity. Buddhism teaches us that true peace comes from focusing on what we can control. Our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions. It's about shifting our energy from complaining to problem solving. Here's a practical exercise. The next time you catch yourself complaining, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, take a deep breath and let it go. If the answer is yes, ask yourself, what's one small step I can take to improve this situation? Let me share a story. There was once a man named John who had a habit of complaining about everything: the weather, his job, his neighbors. One day, his car broke down on the way to an important meeting. As he sat there, fuming and cursing his bad luck, an elderly man walking by stopped and said, "You know, son, the car's not moving, but your mind doesn't have to stay stuck too." Those words hit John like a lightning bolt. He realized that his complaining wasn't fixing the situation, it was only making him miserable. So, instead of sitting there fuming, he called for help, then used the time to reflect on his life. By the time the tow truck arrived, John had made a decision. He was going to stop complaining and start focusing on what he could control. Over time, John noticed a profound shift in his life. He became calmer, more resilient, and even started to find joy in the little things he used to overlook. When you stop complaining about things beyond your control, something incredible happens. You free up mental and emotional energy that you can redirect toward things that truly matter. You become more present, more resilient, and more at peace. Think of it like this. Complaining is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Every step feels harder, slower, more exhausting. But when you let go of that burden, you feel lighter, freer, and more capable of navigating life's challenges. As the Zen proverb says, let go or be dragged. Here are a few practical steps to help you break the habit of complaining. Pause and breathe. The next time you feel the urge to complain, take a deep breath. This simple act can create a moment of space between the situation and your reaction. Reframe the situation. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, ask yourself, what's one thing I can learn from this? Practice gratitude. Make a habit of listing 3 things you're grateful for each day. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. Set boundaries. If you find yourself surrounded by chronic complainers, gently set boundaries. You don't have to engage in negativity. Complaining about things beyond your control is like holding on to that burning coal. It only hurts you. But when you let go, you free yourself to embrace peace, resilience, and joy. As the Buddha said, you will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. The same is true of complaining. It's not the situation that hurts you, it's your reaction to it. So the next time life throws you a curveball, remember, you can't always control the first arrow, but the second one is entirely in your hands. Choose acceptance, choose peace, and watch as your world transforms, one mindful breath at a time. Habit number 3. Express yourself authentically. Picture a treasure chest filled with priceless jewels, gleaming diamonds, radiant sapphires, and shimmering emeralds. But instead of being displayed, admired, or shared, this chest sits hidden in a dark corner, gathering dust. The jewels inside, though beautiful, remain unseen, their brilliance wasted. This is what happens when you suppress your true thoughts and emotions. You lock away your most valuable treasures, your authenticity, your voice, your truth. Holding back creates inner conflict, like a volcano quietly building pressure. At first, it might seem manageable. You tell yourself it's fine, I'll keep it to myself. But over time, the pressure grows. The unspoken words, the buried emotions, the stifled truths, they all simmer beneath the surface until one day they erupt. And when they do, the fallout can be messy, painful, and destructive. Buddhism offers a profound antidote to this through the practice of right speech, a guiding principle that encourages expressing yourself with honesty, kindness, and mindfulness. It's not just about speaking your truth. It's about doing so in a way that fosters understanding, connection, and peace. Think about the last time you held back your true feelings. Maybe it was during a disagreement with a loved one, or perhaps it was at work when you didn't speak up in a meeting. How did it feel? Chances are it left you with a lingering sense of unease, like a weight pressing down on your chest. When you suppress your emotions, you're not just keeping quiet, you're creating a barrier between yourself and the world. You're saying, this part of me isn't welcome here. And over time, that barrier can grow thicker, leaving you feeling isolated and disconnected. But here's the thing. Your thoughts and emotions are like jewels. They're meant to be seen, shared, and appreciated. When you express yourself authentically, you're not just opening the treasure chest, you're inviting others to see the beauty within. So, how do you start expressing yourself authentically? It begins with right speech, one of the core principles of Buddhism. Right speech isn't just about what you say, it's about how you say it. It's about aligning your words with your values and intentions, and speaking in a way that fosters understanding rather than conflict. Here's a simple exercise to get started. Journaling. Each morning or evening, take a few minutes to write down your thoughts without judgment. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Why? This act of naming your emotions not only lightens the burden, but also brings clarity to your mind. Mindful communication. Before speaking, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, are my words true? Are they kind? Are they necessary? This mindfulness transforms conversation, fostering understanding rather than conflict. Let me share a story. There was once a woman named Sarah who had always been a people pleaser. She would nod along in conversations, even when she disagreed. She would suppress her emotions, fearing that speaking her truth might upset others. Over time, Sarah began to feel like a stranger to herself. One day during a family gathering, Sarah's brother made a comment that deeply hurt her. Instead of staying silent, as she usually would, Sarah took a deep breath and said, "That comment hurt me, and I need to be honest about how I feel." To her surprise, her brother listened. They had a heartfelt conversation, and for the first time in years, Sarah felt truly seen and heard. That moment was a turning point for her. She realized that expressing herself authentically wasn't just about speaking her truth, it was about creating deeper, more meaningful connections with others. When you express yourself authentically, something incredible happens. You give others permission to do the same. Your honesty becomes a beacon, guiding others toward their own truth. Think of it like this. Authenticity is contagious. When you speak your truth with kindness and compassion, you create a ripple effect that extends far beyond yourself. You inspire others to open their own treasure chests, to share their own jewels, and to embrace their own authenticity. As the Buddha said, words have the power to both destroy and heal. When words are both true and kind, they can change the world. Here are a few practical steps to help you embrace authentic expression. Start small. Begin by expressing your thoughts and feelings in low-stakes situations. For example, share your opinion in a casual conversation or express gratitude to someone you care about. Practice active listening. Authentic expression isn't just about speaking, it's also about listening. When you truly listen to others, you create a safe space for them to express themselves authentically. Set boundaries. Authenticity also means saying no when something doesn't align with your values or needs. Setting boundaries is a powerful way to honor your truth. Celebrate imperfection. Authenticity isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. Embrace your imperfections and don't be afraid to show your vulnerabilities. Expressing yourself authentically isn't just about speaking your truth, it's about living it. It's about opening the treasure chest of your inner thoughts and emotions and letting the world see the brilliance within. As you walk this path, remember, your voice matters, your truth matters. And when you share it with kindness and compassion, you not only free yourself, you inspire others to do the same. So, take a deep breath, open the treasure chest and let your jewels shine. The world is waiting to see the real you. Habit number 4, take responsibility. Don't blame others. Picture this. You're running a long, grueling race. The path stretches endlessly ahead, and the sun beats mercilessly on your back. But that's not the worst part. What truly makes this race unbearable is the backpack you're carrying. It's loaded with heavy rocks, each one representing blame, excuses, and the refusal to take ownership of your own life. With every step, the weight digs deeper, slowing you down, sapping your energy, and making the finish line feel impossible to reach. Now imagine how liberating it would be to stop, open that backpack, and one by one, let the rocks fall away. Can you feel the lightness, the renewed sense of energy? This, my friend, is the essence of taking responsibility. In the teachings of Buddhism, the concept of karma, a word often misunderstood, holds a profound truth. Our actions, not our circumstances, shape our reality. Karma isn't some cosmic punishment or reward system. It's the simple yet powerful idea that what we do, think, and say creates the fabric of our lives. When you blame others for your struggles, you're effectively handing over the reins of your life. It's like saying, "Here, you steer. I'll just sit back and be a victim." But when you take responsibility, you reclaim your agency, your strength, your power to steer the ship, even when the waters are rough and the winds are unforgiving. Take a moment to reflect. How often do you catch yourself pointing fingers when things go wrong? Maybe it's the boss who doesn't recognize your efforts, the family member who always seems to criticize, or the friend who let you down. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, if only they had been better, I wouldn't be in this mess. But here's the truth no one tells you. Blaming others might feel like relief in the short term, but in the long run, it's a prison of your own making. The Buddha taught that we suffer not because of life's inherent challenges, but because of how we respond to them. Blame is like a poison that seeps into your mind, clouding your judgment and keeping you stuck in a cycle of resentment. But responsibility? That's the antidote. It's the act of looking at your life, not through the lens of what's been done to you, but through the lens of what you can do about it. Let me share a story, a parable rooted in Zen wisdom. Once, a young monk came to his teacher, distraught. "Master," he said, "I'm struggling to find peace. The villagers criticize me, my family burdens me with expectations, and nothing seems to go right." The master paused, then handed the monk a cup of tea. As the monk drank, the master said, "Now imagine this cup is your life, and every drop of tea represents something you blame others for. Each time you point a finger, your cup overflows. How can you ever hope to find peace if your cup is never empty?" This story speaks volumes. When we blame others, we fill our lives with noise, leaving no space for growth, clarity, or solutions. But when we take responsibility, we empty the cup, allowing space for new possibilities. Here's another perspective to consider. Responsibility doesn't mean self-blame. Oh no, don't confuse the two. Taking responsibility isn't about beating yourself up or shouldering all the guilt. It's about recognizing where you have power, however small, and using it to create change. For example, let's say you're stuck in a toxic work environment. Blaming your boss for the negativity might feel justified, but what does it achieve? The situation remains the same, and you remain powerless. But if you take responsibility, you might say, "Okay, this isn't ideal, but what can I do? Can I set boundaries? Can I look for new opportunities? Can I approach this with a mindset that focuses on what I can control?" Taking responsibility is like flipping a switch. Suddenly, you're no longer a passive observer in your life. You're an active participant, making choices that align with your values and goals. As the Zen proverb says, "Fall 7 times, stand up 8. This doesn't just mean perseverance, it means owning each fall, learning from it, and rising stronger. Every stumble is an opportunity to grow. Blame, on the other hand, keeps you lying on the ground, staring at the sky, and wondering why the world is so unfair. Let's not sugarcoat it. Taking responsibility isn't easy. It requires humility, courage, and an honest look at yourself. It means admitting that you've made mistakes, that you've contributed to some of your challenges. But oh, the freedom it brings. When you stop waiting for others to change, you discover the immense power you hold to change yourself. Think of responsibility as the ultimate form of self-love. By taking ownership of your life, you're saying to yourself, "I deserve better, and I'm willing to work for it." You're not waiting for a savior or a stroke of luck. You're creating your own path, one choice at a time. So what's in your backpack? Is it filled with the rocks of blame and excuses? Or have you started to lighten the load, replacing those rocks with tools like accountability, self-reflection, and action? The journey toward taking responsibility is ongoing. There will be days when the weight feels unbearable, when blaming someone else seems like the easier route. But remember, every time you choose responsibility over blame, you're building the unshakable mental strength that allows you to face life with grace and resilience. In the end, it's not about the rocks you've carried, it's about the moment you decide to let them go. That's when you'll realize the power was within you all along. Habit number 5, replace fantasizing with visualization. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing in a vast meadow with the sky stretching endlessly above you. You begin to dream, painting pictures of a grand golden castle floating in the clouds. Its spires glisten under the sun, its walls are adorned with jewels, and it stands as a symbol of everything you've ever desired: success, happiness, fulfillment. But as you take a step forward, reaching out to touch it, the image fades. The castle dissolves like mist, leaving you standing alone in the empty field. The dream just a mirage. This is the essence of fantasizing. It feels so real, so alluring, but at the end of the day, it's an illusion. It's like spinning wheels in the sand. There's movement, but no forward progress. Oh, how easy it is to lose yourself in fantasies, to picture a life of grandeur without ever asking, "How do I get there?" Now, don't get me wrong, dreaming isn't inherently bad. In fact, it's the spark that lights the fire of ambition. But the problem arises when dreaming turns into endless fantasizing, a loop of what-ifs that traps you in your own mind, disconnected from the tangible world. Fantasizing is passive. It's like sitting in a boat without an oar, drifting wherever the current takes you. Visualization, on the other hand, is purposeful. It's grabbing those oars, plotting your course, and rowing toward your destination with intent and focus. So how do we bridge the gap between dream and reality? The answer lies in the practice of visualization, a tool rooted in both modern psychology and ancient Buddhist teachings. Visualization is not about constructing castles in the sky. It's about building foundations on the ground, brick by brick. Imagine this. You have a goal, something that sets your heart alight. Maybe it's to learn a new skill, improve your health, or deepen your relationships. Instead of simply fantasizing about the end result, being fluent in a language, running a marathon, or finding the perfect partner, visualization invites you to mentally walk through the journey. Picture this in your mind's eye. You're waking up early each morning to practice a few phrases in your new language, stumbling over pronunciations but improving each day. You're lacing up your running shoes, feeling the cool morning air on your skin, and pushing through the discomfort of your first jog. You're having honest, vulnerable conversations with loved ones, building trust and intimacy. Can you see it? Can you feel it? That's the power of visualization. It transforms abstract dreams into actionable steps. Here's the beauty of it. Visualization doesn't just prepare you mentally, it also primes your brain for success. Neuroscience has shown that when you vividly imagine performing a task, your brain lights up as though you're actually doing it. It's like a rehearsal for the real thing, training your mind to recognize opportunities, overcome obstacles, and stay focused on the path ahead. Let's ground this in a story, a lesson, if you will. Imagine a young archer, eager to hit the bullseye. He stands before the target, bow in hand, but instead of visualizing his arrow's flight, he closes his eyes and fantasizes about the cheers of the crowd, the weight of the gold medal around his neck. When he finally lets the arrow fly, it misses the mark entirely. Why? Because he focused on the outcome, not the process. Now picture the same archer, but this time he takes a different approach. Before he draws the bowstring, he closes his eyes and visualizes each step with clarity. He feels the tension in the string, aligns his breath with his aim, and sees the arrow slicing through the air to meet its target. When he releases the arrow, it's no longer luck guiding its path, but intention, precision, and preparation. This is what visualization teaches us. It's not enough to dream about success. You must see yourself doing the work, embracing the challenges, persevering through setbacks, and celebrating small victories along the way. As the Buddha so beautifully reminded us, the way is not in the sky, the way is in the heart. This wisdom cuts to the core of visualization. It's not about lofty fantasies that lift you out of reality. It's about grounding yourself in the present, aligning your actions with your values, and walking the path with courage and clarity. If you're ready to embrace this practice, here's a simple yet powerful exercise to get started. Find a quiet place, free from distractions. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, letting your mind settle. Bring to mind a specific goal, not a vague dream, but something concrete. Something that matters deeply to you. Visualize yourself taking the first step toward that goal. What does it look like? How does it feel? Imagine the sounds, the sensations, the emotions that accompany this step. Now, picture the next step and the next. Let your mind walk through the process one moment at a time until you reach the finish line. This practice isn't about perfection. It's about preparation. It's about creating a mental map that guides you from where you are to where you want to be. So the next time you catch yourself lost in a daydream, building castles in the air, ask yourself, what's my next step? And then with intention and focus, take it. Because the truth is, life isn't about the castle, it's about the journey of building it, one brick at a time. Habit number 6, prioritize personal relationships. Imagine yourself standing in the middle of a stunning garden. The air is fresh, and the vibrant colors of flowers dance in the sunlight. You can almost feel the life pulsing through every petal, every leaf. It's a haven, a place that feels alive with possibility and peace. Now imagine you walk away. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months. No one waters the garden, no one tends to its needs. The soil hardens, the flowers wilt, and soon the once lush greenery is reduced to a barren shadow of its former glory. This image, though simple, speaks volumes about our relationships. They're like gardens, filled with the potential for beauty, connection, and life, but only if nurtured. Neglect them, and they wither. But here's the good news. With care, they can blossom into profound sources of strength, joy, and meaning. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to let relationships fall to the wayside. We get caught up in deadlines, responsibilities, and personal ambitions. How often have we said, "I'll call them later," or "we'll catch up soon," only to let the moments slip through our fingers like sand? Over time, these small delays add up, creating gaps that grow wider until they feel like unbridgeable chasms. But here's the truth. Relationships aren't just nice to have, they're essential. They ground us, nourish our souls, and remind us that life's greatest joys are often found in the simplest of connections. A heartfelt conversation, a shared laugh, or even a moment of quiet understanding. Buddhist philosophy beautifully captures this wisdom. The Buddha once said, "Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared." This timeless teaching reminds us that love and kindness aren't finite resources. The more we give, the more we have to share. Let's break this down through a story. Picture a man named Ananda, who lived a quiet life, content in his routine but disconnected from those around him. He had friends and family, but he rarely made the effort to reach out. Birthdays came and went with a quick text, and meaningful conversations were replaced by surface-level pleasantries. One day, Ananda attended the funeral of an old friend, a man he hadn't spoken to in years. As he stood there, surrounded by people who shared stories of connection and closeness, Ananda realized how much he'd missed. His friend had reached out countless times, but Ananda had always been too busy to reciprocate. Now, he could never get that time back. That moment became a turning point. Ananda decided to stop waiting for the right time and start making time. He called his sister just to hear her laugh, met his old school friend for coffee, and sat down with his wife, truly listening to her hopes and fears. Slowly but surely, the garden of his relationships began to bloom again. And with each connection, Ananda felt more alive, more grounded, and more at peace. What can we learn from Ananda's story? First, relationships don't thrive on autopilot. They require intention, attention, and action. But the effort doesn't have to be grand. Sometimes it's as simple as sending a message to say, "I'm thinking of you," or setting aside an hour to have a meal together without distractions. Second, vulnerability is the water that keeps the garden alive. It's easy to keep things surface level, but true connection comes from letting people see the real you, your fears, your dreams, your imperfections. It's about saying, "This is me unfiltered, and I trust you enough to share it." And in doing so, you give others permission to do the same. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Not all relationships are easy. Some require more work than others. There will be disagreements, misunderstandings, and moments when walking away feels tempting. But here's the thing. Just as a gardener doesn't abandon the soil after a bad season, we shouldn't give up on meaningful relationships at the first sign of difficulty. Instead, we should ask ourselves, what can I do to nurture this connection? How can I water this garden? Of course, not all gardens are meant to be saved. Sometimes weeds overtake the soil, relationships that drain more than they give, that hinder growth instead of fostering it. In these cases, it's okay to let go, to make space for healthier, more fulfilling connections. As the Buddha taught, attachment to what no longer serves us only leads to suffering. For those relationships that matter, though, it's worth every ounce of effort. Think about it. When you prioritize personal connections, you're not just enriching someone else's life, you're transforming your own. You're building a support system, a safety net, and a wellspring of joy that carries you through life's highs and lows. Let's circle back to the garden. What if, instead of waiting for the plants to wilt, you tended to them regularly? A little water here, some sunlight there, and maybe even a few words of encouragement. Yes, talking to plants works. Just ask any gardener. Over time, the garden would thrive, becoming a sanctuary not just for you, but for everyone who steps into its embrace. The same is true of your relationships. When you invest in them, you're creating a space where love, trust, and understanding can flourish. You're lighting candles that will never run out of flame, spreading happiness in a way that multiplies endlessly. So here's the challenge. Think of one person who means the world to you, but whom you've unintentionally neglected. It could be a friend, a sibling, a parent, or even a colleague. Reach out today, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Send them a message, give them a call, or better yet, make plans to see them. Because at the end of the day, our greatest legacy isn't the work we've done or the achievements we've earned. It's the love we've shared, the lives we've touched, and the gardens we've nurtured. And in those moments of connection, we find the truest, most enduring happiness of all. Mental strength is not about being unshakable. It's about learning to bend without breaking, like bamboo in the wind. By practicing mindfulness, embracing impermanence, and letting go of what weighs us down, we cultivate an inner resilience that cannot be easily disturbed. As you move forward, remember this: when you let go of who you are, you become who you might be. If you found these insights valuable, like and share this video to help others unlock their inner strength. Don't forget to subscribe to Quiet Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful and empowered life. Until next time, may your days be filled with clarity, kindness, and the profound wisdom of the Buddha.